Whenever I ask an agency owner what they actually kept last month, not what they invoiced, but what profit they kept in the business, they start to deflect. We had a few extra costs this month, it's normally more than that, this doesn't include the new client we're about to sign. I used to have all of these excuses too. I ran an agency for 12 years before selling it, and a good chunk of that time I made up excuse after excuse to paper over the real answer of what I made last month, because the truth is I never really knew the profit figure. I knew the revenue, I rarely knew the profit. It took me a while to build up my financial intelligence and learn how much profit matters over revenue. Before that, I just chased the top line, and sometimes that felt like enough. Over time, I realized it isn't. And the gap between those two numbers, revenue and profit, is what this video is about today. Everyone knows their revenue number. It's the number that people lead with. And when people ask, like, how is your agency? It's a bit like when people say, how many people in your team? It's a number that's a vanity metric, but doesn't really mean much. Revenue on its own tells you nothing about whether your business actually works or not. And there are plenty of ways to fluff it up, because not all of the money that lands in your account was yours to begin with. The biggest one, of course, is tax. People give their total revenue, not taking into consideration that they have to pay tax on that, like it's theirs in the first place. Another example is running paid media and billing the client for their ad spend. The number looks impressive, but a big slice of it is just passing through on its way to Meta or Google. And if you bring in freelancers or pay suppliers to deliver a project, their invoice is coming straight back out for their share of what the client paid you. So the headline figure has a load of other people's money baked into it. The way to see how things really are is to strip that all out. Take what you've invoiced this month, take off everything that was only ever passing through, and what's left is the money that your agency actually has to work with. Because I can tell you with some confidence that the only thing that gets you the freedom you're after is profit. So here's the question. Why does so little of your revenue survive to the end of the month? In an agency, it comes down to two things really. The first is your pricing. Think of this as speed, quality, and price. You only ever get to prioritize two of the three. If it's fast and high quality, you can charge a higher price. If it's fast and cheap, the quality has to drop if you still want to make money. So decide what you are and who you are for and price accordingly. The second is utilization. That's the amount of time your team spends on work that you're actually invoicing clients for. Billable against non-billable. Billable work is running an SEO campaign, PPC campaign, designing stuff. Non-billable is answering emails and Slack messages. Some of your team will naturally spend more of their time on billable work than others, so your pricing and your utilization targets need to reflect that. Underprice the work or underuse the people that you're paying. Usually it's a bit of both, but often this is where profit just disappears. So I just want to cover something. A lot of the financial advice you'll hear isn't strictly true. For example, people say that gross margin is the number that you have to watch. Gross margin is useful, but only with context. It really depends entirely on how you set your accounts up. Some agencies put their team costs above gross profit as a cost of sale. Others count the same people below it and treat them as overhead. And some split the two. For example, I used to keep my full-time employees below the line, but freelancers and contractors above it as a cost of sale. If I needed to scale freelancers up or down, it was easy. With employees, I had notice periods and termination rights. So they were a little bit more of a fixed overhead for me. Same money, same people, two completely different gross margin percentages. One agency looks like it's running at 80% and the other one down at 45%. And underneath, they might be identical businesses. So don't get attached to that percentage on its own. And definitely don't compare yours to someone else's. It all evens out at the number further down the page, which is your operating profit. It's the least glamorous line in the whole business because it's kind of what's left after almost everything else has gone out. The team, software, rent, even your own salary. This is money that your business actually made. The bit you get to keep to pay yourself with as owner pay. Typically dividends will come out of this figure. And of course, corporation tax and things will come out of the profits too. It's also the more honest view because it doesn't really care how you've labeled your costs. However you've arranged the page above it, this is where everything filters down to. When I started running my agency off this number instead of revenue, it really changed how I made my decisions. I stopped chasing every opportunity and taking on clients that weren't the right fit just to inflate the revenue number, because I knew a bad client would leave me probably net negative on operating profit by the end of the month. I'd effectively be paying them to do their work whilst draining my team's availability for the work that did tick all the qualification boxes. When I started my agency, it was all about taking on as many clients as I could. If they had a bank account, I'd work with them. And that was a huge mistake. And a lot of agencies go through their own version of this. Some never get off that hamster wheel. So to bring it all together, here's the question to ask yourself. After the people who deliver the work get paid and every other cost is accounted for, is there going to be anything left for you in the business? One quick exercise you could do is to work out whether your pricing is right across every client, every new project, and whether your team is being used properly. Find the patterns and the gaps. Then start judging every decision on what it leaves you at the bottom of your profit and loss, not what it delivers at the top. Do that and you stop running an agency that just looks successful, and you'll start running one that compounds your wealth and your time freedom exactly as you deserve as the person who's building this business. Too many agency owners run their agency just to earn themselves a salary, and they're left with almost nothing at the end of it, despite all of the hard work and carrying all of the risk. My goal is to cover more content like this and stories from my journey from starting an agency to eventually having a life-changing exit. I hope you'll join me for it. So please give me a like, follow, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Cheers.